In this video, I will be showing you how I turned two old rickety sheds into a fully waterproof workshop. For a few years, I've been desperate for a space to store my tools and work in relative comfort, and I've dreamed of a proper brick-built workshop. That was too expensive, and I made the error of watching a video by my favourite YouTuber, Colin Furs, which shows you how you can build a really decent shed for around £1,600. Unfortunately, that video I watched was a few years old, and on top of that, it was around COVID time when timber prices were going crazy expensive. Something the size I wanted, about 3 meters by 4 meters, would have been in the thousands. So I settled on sourcing the main structure of the shed via Facebook Marketplace in the form of two sheds and building from the inside. A decision which now 2.5 years on, I'm not sure was the right one, but I'll come to that later. The first major issue I had was the size of the shed I wanted. I needed 3 meters by 4 meters or 10 foot by 13 foot, which is not the standard size in the UK. I could have had one built for me to that size, but again, this would have been way too expensive. After waiting for what seemed forever for the perfect size shed to turn up, I decided that I would try and make the size I wanted from more than one shed. I found 4 panels from two different sheds, the side panels from one shed and the front and back from another. I also had the side panels for the smaller one, and so I used this extra wood to extend the width, as you can see in these images. Next was the roof. I bought a 6x2 treated timber and used it as the main support. I also bought some 4.2 lengths, as you can see on the right hand side here, and I used the leftover bands from the spare side panels for the left hand side of the roof. It was quite challenging as nothing was square and I was unable to make any repeatable cuts or angles, but certainly enjoyable once it was done. After that, I put some 18mm OSB sheets on the joist, then covered this with roof felting. The black line you can see on the left is where I miscalculated where the section would meet, and so it's extra adhesive, doesn't affect it at all, and it's still watertight. Next, to make sure the structure was completely weatherproof, I raised it on a car jack and put blocks underneath, then done a course of bricks around the perimeter so that the shed was sitting on the bricks. Then I painted bitumen on the bricks on both sides and finished off with some mortar to completely stop any water ingress from the floor outside. I started to line the inside with 18mm shuttering ply. I did this for several reasons. One was better thermal and noise insulation, and also not being limited as to where to put cupboards, etc. Here I could screw anywhere and not have to find or hunt for joists, etc. And this is the progress getting there here, almost finished with the 18mm ply. That's all the walls done now. Ready to start the benches on the inside. That's it, I've started to put the frame for the bench up using the latest level here. Top going on there on the left hand side, as you can see. So the next couple of videos here show the completed structure for the workbenches. I've only gone for the back and the right hand side there, as you can see, just to give enough space to put things together and have enough floor space if I want to have machines in there, etc. It's an extremely strong structure. The bottom plates there are bolted into the floor, and then any side bits are obviously bolted into the 18mm ply and the joists. So yeah, very, very strong. At that point, I decided to get electric put into the shed, so I ran that cable, as you can see there, 6mm armoured cable, from the consumer underneath my stairs, ran it down the garden, and then up through the floor of the shed, drilling through the concrete base. At that point, it was a bit of a game changer, really. The lights were really good, and I also had plug sockets to plug tools into, etc., rather than using extension cords from the house. So that was a major sort of milestone in this project. Next comes the insulation. I think 75mm PIR boards there. I use my chop saw to cut sort of little noggins just to create a bit of a air gap between where the ceiling finishes, or rather in between the ceiling and insulation. So once all the insulation boards were up, I then used expanding foam for any gaps, just to stop as much leakage as I could. Then I put a vapor barrier across the whole ceiling. This is to stop any sort of moisture from breathing, etc., going up. Then I put a vapor barrier on the left-hand wall as well, and then covered this with a 12mm soundproof plasterboard. Now I don't know how effective this is against the normal plasterboards out there, as this is meant to be used in conjunction with other products that are similar, made by the same company, like the insulation. Obviously I do have some insulation in there, so hopefully it does reduce it a little bit. The reason for this is I plan to use quite loud machinery in the shed, and hopefully I won't get any noise complaints from the neighbours. I am a good distance away from people's houses. I also put the plasterboard on the roof, or the ceiling, as you can see there, and covered the joints up with some timber. Now, maybe way over the top, but I've also decided to plaster the inside of the sheds here on top of the plasterboards. One, to practice my plaster skills, and again, I did want a proper workshop, so to help out with any thermal insulation or noise insulation, and also wanted to paint it and make it look nice. So probably way over the top, but it didn't cost a great deal. Them bags of plaster, I think were only £7 or £8 from memory. Like I said, it was really good fun to practice plastering. A few slides just show the progression of the plaster as it's drying out and then paint going on. I didn't actually plaster the ceiling. I thought that would be too much and too difficult for me. It's one thing plastering walls, different thing doing ceilings when you're not professional. So there's more the rest of the vapor barrier going up, more plasterboard, obviously filling in the holes there. Having to be very innovative here because I was working on my own. So that's it, end of part one, and where I've got the shed into a usable space with no wind howling in, lights and power, no weather getting in. If you've got this far, thank you very much for watching. It's taken me a long time to put this video together. My dream is to make this at least a very involved hobby, and so if you could subscribe and etc., I'd be very, very, very grateful. Since I've done this video, or rather since I've put these clips together, I've done tons more work on the shed. I've got loads more tools, etc. Done lots and lots of stuff inside, and so I'll be putting together or editing those videos and putting them out shortly. So if it's something you're interested in watching, then again, just keep an eye out. Thank you very much.